my name is Tanya Torres. Welcome to my channel. I have a special guest today. Her name is Alba Weinman, and I just wanted to discuss my journey in meeting Alba. I first met Alba a year ago during my spiritual awakening. I had a beautiful session with her where she was able to help me find out more about myself and just discover what a powerful being I am, and how we're all here to serve a purpose, and we're all here to bring the light and to anchor ourselves and just assist and serve. So hi, Alba.
Hi.
Alba, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I'm a hypnotherapist, and my specialty right now, it's always been, is I'm a hypnotherapist for those on the path of spiritual awakening, as Tanya just said. And uh, I've not always been a hypnotherapist. I've come a long way. I stumbled upon it in my late 50s. So I've been doing this for about 6 years now, and learning more and more each time. So I was in the field of telecommunications for most of my life, almost 40 years. And after that, I was doing some life coaching. And that's when I stumbled upon hypnosis, which is a step beyond coaching, because I wanted to get to people's soul, and this gets to people's soul. So that was my journey. So now I'm doing hypnosis full time, traveling around the world doing my sessions, and also meeting people from all over the world. So it's very exciting.
Wonderful. Thank you, Alba. So did you ever think that you would make this work your career?
Well, hypnosis was never even part of my reality throughout my life. I was always in telecom. I was always serving customers. I was always like in the programming part of phone business. Um, I did a lot of recordings. Like when you call companies and they have the automated attendants at the front where they say, thank you for calling XYZ company. For this, press 1. For that, press 2. I love doing those recordings. I did a lot. I've done thousands of those recordings. And so I never really thought of any career where I would be dealing with people one-on-one as my own business owner. I just always worked for a company, for a large company. So when coaching came around, and this is my step because everybody has a catalyst, coaching came around because I love to give people advice. And it comes from my own life, because we all have things that we have to stumble in order for us to learn how to walk. And a lot of things have happened to me. So when people come to me, I give them advice on how to be a better person, how to improve their skills, how to do whatever. I was always like coaching people. And, one day somebody said to me, he had gone, he had quit his job, sold his car, and moved to Switzerland from Miami. And that was because of the advice I had given him. And he loved his new life. And I thought to myself, maybe this is, I'm onto something. Maybe I should do this for a living. So I started learning how to do coaching. I did take a coaching program, and then I started doing this at night. So once I started doing that at night, my world started changing, because I realized I had different skills than just how to program telephones and how to do other things in the telecom business. And I started really dealing with people one-on-one, but I was always very, very, and you're not going to believe this, but I was always very shy about dealing with people face to face.
Really?
Yeah. I did it for yeah, it is. My whole life is shocking like that. I was very introverted when it came to doing certain things. Like I could give advice on the spot for my coworkers, but as far as doing a program where you had to kind of know a script and do certain protocols, I really freaked out when I had to do stuff like that. So I would do it over the phone. That way I didn't have to see the person. And that way, and now I know why, because I was actually channeling my higher being, that inner voice when I wasn't seeing the person. So as I was talking on the phone, I was giving them advice, and then but even though it was very successful, I still felt that I could do more, but I wasn't getting to their soul. It's like I know there's something missing. Like I'm just scratching the surface, but I'm not getting deep inside. And after that, that's when I stumbled upon Dolores Cannon, who actually was doing hypnosis. I had never really thought about doing hypnosis myself. I had had some regressions in my life before, some past life regressions. I think I had two of them in my past, like when I was much younger. And then I thought, wow, yeah, maybe I could help people, not only give them advice, but go deep into their soul. So that's how I started. There was a lot more in between, but um, that's how it went into hypnosis. And then from there, um, I've I wanted to up the game a little bit more. And I said, I just don't want to get to their soul. I actually want to be a mouthpiece of God. I want I want my words to be spoken. I want to speak God's words, like the mouth, this, I called it, I want to be the mouthpiece of God, um, the instrument of God. So when you have an intent, when you set an intention,
The
be
universe
prepared.
answers.
Be prepared for an answer. And I never expected my journey to take the journey that it did. I started putting my videos of my sessions out on YouTube, and the main reason I put them out was because at that time there were no videos of any hypnosis out there. Okay, if there were, they were clinical hypnosis and very like professional, dealing with certain issues, but there was not this type of spiritual hypnosis. And when I put them out for the idea that when someone wants a session with me, that I can direct them to YouTube and say, well, that's what I do. You can see me work. Your session may not be like that, but at least you know what a session is like.
I have an idea.
You have an idea, so you don't go in there saying like, what is she going to do to me? So I wanted them to just feel the vibe of how I work. It was kind of like a resume, like putting my resume out there, and actually seeing how I work. But I never realized that these videos would take off all around the world. They're being seen in countries that I never knew existed.
Wow.
Like I have learned names of countries that I never even knew. So it's been a really good geography lesson for me. And what I realized is that with my viewers watching this stuff, they're awakening.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm not teaching them. They're just learning, or they're remembering. And it's very different for you to go to a class to learn something, and it's kind of being given to you, where you're just kind of like allowing the information to come in and not having to be tested on it or have to practice it. You just allow it in as it comes in. So all of these people worldwide are learning things about the spiritual world and about themselves, their soul's journey, by watching other people talk about this.
I think you're definitely right about that, because when I started watching your videos, it's like a remembering. You resonate, and then I was like, but I need to have a session too. This makes so much sense to me. Like you can't fathom it in your head, but your heart, it resonates in your heart.
Yes, yes. So the thing is that, and we were discussing this before, nobody is better than anybody else. We're just at different levels of remembering, because we're all souls that have lived before. That we may not have lived on earth, but we have all lived before, and we have all come from different parts of the universe. And here we come to experience something. But our culture, our society doesn't allow us to grow spiritually because we have an agenda, of how we raise our children and the schooling and just how you should behave yourself. Whereas these souls are coming from different places and they're remembering now. They're remembering how powerful they truly are. And that's the beauty of it. When you wake up, you realize, like, now I remember, I can heal myself. I can heal myself. All I have to do is set an intention and it's done. Or I could get something done, or I can, if I want something, all I have to do is set an intention and it's going to be there. And so we're starting to remember, and some people be watching saying, well, that's, you, because you have the money. But no, it's not like that. It's not about the money or anything. It's the fact that when you set an intentions for something, the universe starts putting things into place for you to obtain that in the weirdest ways,
Yeah.
in the weirdest ways. And it may take years for you to get to what you said you were going to do, but all of a sudden you'll be there, and back in 2006 or 2007, when I started this coaching thing, I was listening to Abraham Hicks. And Abraham Hicks always had this thing about the vision boards, and if you want something, put it in a box and say, I forgot what it was. You put whatever you want, you put in a box and say, so be it, or something like that. Make it so, or it was almost like a box where you put all of your realities from the future into that. Okay, and one of the things I did was I took a leaflet from it was like a I can do it conference. It was a Louise Hay conference, and where it had the little speakers with the little icons of the speakers. And I said, one day I'm going to be a speaker at a conference, right?
Goodness.
I was in telecom, like, what am I going to be speaking about? But I always wanted to see myself speaking to people. And so I just cut out my picture and I put it on there and I put it in the box and I said, okay, it's done. And that was in 2006. Wow. Now it's taken many years. And here I am in front of my own gatherings now as a speaker.
It's amazing.
And it's like, I never thought of that box again. I never thought of that picture again. But the fact is, I was telling the universe, I have something to say. I don't know what I have to say because I have nothing really to talk about now. But in the future, I'm going to be speaking. So things happened in my life which were not very nice to speak about. I went through a lot of crazy stuff in my life, and I finally had a story to tell. It wasn't what I was expecting to talk about, but that, I think, helped me and it helped others as they listened to it. So you never know, how your life is going to be. But once you set your intention, you better be careful what you set your intention for, because you will get it. And it doesn't mean that you're going to get it next week. It took, oh my God, it took so many years, because I actually got into hypnosis in 2014. So look how long it took from 2006 just to get to getting into hypnosis. And then it took many years after that where I was actually speaking. Like in my own stuff. I was doing some speaking engagements before, but yeah, so
my next question. You have very long responses, Alba.
My responses are really long to every question.
You answer all my questions immediately, even before I ask.
I wonder why.
Stop reading my mind, Alba.
That's what happened.
I think we discussed your challenges already. Yeah. Who are the people that have made the biggest difference in your career?
In my career? Well, I mean, the obviously Dolores Cannon. because she was the one who woke me up to this method. She actually passed away about 6 months. Was it 6 months after I saw her, or maybe 4 months after I saw her at a conference?
Oh, wow.
So she was impactful because obviously she was my first one to change my life. And then after that was Aurelio Mejia. Aurelio Mejia is a Colombian hypnotherapist who's got his own style of work. And I actually went to Colombia for 11 days and was his shadow. I mean, literally everywhere he went, except for the bathroom and to sleep. I was with him for 11 days. I went to work with him. My hotel was like a block away from his office, so I would meet him first thing in the morning. His oh my God, he would do like 6 sessions a day. The guy is an animal.
Wow.
And I would be there all day. We would have a quick lunch and then a quick dinner. And then if he had to do errands, I was running around doing errands. And, one thing I learned about Aurelio Mejia was not so much his hypnosis, because I was already doing hypnosis, but he was such an amazing human being. I saw him do things to help people who were underprivileged that really affected me a lot. He would always, for example, have candies in his car, because if somebody would come to ask him for money, not only would he give him money, but he'd give him candies.
Oh, that's sweet.
Hard candies. And if somebody needed a ride and he saw somebody walking toward the bus stop, he'd just open his door and have them climb in, and he'd take them there. And we'd be eating lunch at a curbside restaurant, and somebody would come up asking for money, and he'd give him the bread on the table.
Wow.
Things like that. So he impacted my life that way, because he was such a great human being, so giving, and he gives of his life. It's like he was born to give service like that. So his life is not about money, it's about being of service. So he helped a lot. And of course, my colleague Antonio Sanjo has been a great impact in my life. Antonio and I met in my level 2 QHHT class. We met briefly for less than like a few seconds. He came up to me because he realized that I spoke Spanish, and he's Peruvian. My background is Cuban, and he came up to me and says, "Oh, do you speak Spanish?" And I said, "Yeah." And then I just kind of blew him off because there was nothing else to say. And that's not a theme that I usually continue on. It's not for me a big thing. So. But Antonio and I met again because we were at the airport, and the whole group of us were leaving, and we took a group picture. And then Antonio wanted to know who had the picture, which I did. So he called me, and the rest was history. We have been talking with each other for the last 6 years, every day. Wow. We are colleagues. We're like a brother and sister. We are so close. And as we were progressing through this hypnosis, there are many times when you have situations where you just want to quit because the session went so bad. The client just wouldn't cooperate with you, and it just was horrible. And when you want to throw in the towel, I would call up Antonio and say, "Listen, I can't do this anymore. That was just terrible." And he would talk me off the ledge. And then he would do the same thing when he'd say like, "Oh, that was terrible." And I would talk him off the ledge. So throughout our career, we have been supporting each other back and forth. And, now he trains in introspective hypnosis, and I'm there with him I'm like his sidekick. So we do things differently. He's gone off a different path. I actually went into my hypnotherapy. I got my certified in hypnotherapy, and then he went off and he did other things, other life between lives, and now a different method that he's using. Right. So between, Dolores Cannon, Aurelio Mejia, and Antonio have been my biggest supporters and have really affected my life and my career move, as I move forward.
Well,
So
that's a good
it's been a
group.
great ride.
That's a
Yeah,
good.
it is a good group. Very strong people, all of them.
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay. In this career, what has been the thing that you've been most surprised to learn?
Oh God. Well, really about me, to tell you the truth, because I am not very, I've never been good at school because I never liked school. Um, I'm not a memorizer, and school is all about memorizing facts and
Mhm.
being tested on it. And I was never, ever good at it. I always say I have a Teflon mind. Things just roll right out. And and so what really surprised me about this is that when I do my work, there's no memorizing there. I am 100% there with my client. And what comes to me from beyond me. Whatever I am saying is coming through me. So there's no memorizing required. There's no having to look at notes and what do I say next. And I always remember um, when I worked, and I going back in my career, I visited a 911 center, and they have these scripts where if this happens, they turn the page and they ask this question, and it's the same as nurses and doctors.
Right.
If you have this, you ask this. And this hypnosis, there's no scripting. It's just whatever comes through is the right answer. And that is what surprises me the most, is that when I'm in the absolute now with my client, I don't need to know anything. All I have to do is be curious and ask, and the session just goes off on its own.
Just
And that
flow.
to me, that is beautiful, because I've always been fearful in my career because, what if I don't remember how to do this? And it's not like that when I do my hypnosis sessions, because I'm in trance also. So I am picking up stuff from somewhere else. My inner wisdom is coming out. So,
That brings me to my next question. Do you think hypnosis is a form of channeling?
oh well. Let me. I should have got my prop, which I wanted to get, but I didn't. Um, we are like a DVD. Um, all of our lives are on this like DVD. All of our life, that all the lifetime we have ever lived and are living and will be living, is all like there. So when we are in hypnosis, we are actually going into those other grooves of the DVD. We're visiting those other moments. So we are not so much channeling, but we're actually connecting with those other aspects of ourselves. Okay. And those other aspects come out in our everyday life. These rememberings that I don't like to call it channeling, because channeling sounds too woo woo.
Yeah.
It's actually you're connecting to those aspects of you. And I'm going to give you an example of when I was very little. My father and mother took me to, they have a lot of these up north where you live. It's the living museums where people dress up in the era of either the farm or a place maybe from the 1800s. And there's a museum with all of the tools that they used, right?
Hmm.
So when I was a little girl, I was about 8 years old. I went to this living museum with my mom and dad. And my dad and I were walking through this like farm or a place where all these tools were. And my father looked at this thing that looked like a frying pan with a cover. And our family comes from Cuba, so it's a tropical place, just like outside my window here. And my father said to me, "I wonder what that's used for." And I said, "That's to warm your beds." And my father looked at me like, "Huh?" And I was certain that's what it was for. And where did that come from? Well, I know that in one of my past lives, I was living in the 1800s, and those are bed warmers. And I always had a habit because I lived in New Jersey and I lived in a place that was my room was very cold. It was like an enclosed porch. And I would always, just because I would take my frying pan and I would warm it up and I would warm my bed before I go to sleep.
Isn't that
And,
something?
and so where is that coming from? That's coming from that other lifetime that was doing this. So is that a form of channeling? I think that's just bringing forth that other part of you that you know you are so multidimensional, so you're just bringing forth that part of you that remembers you
Yeah.
are there, so there are times when you could connect, and well, people say, well, yeah, you could go to different aspects of you, but when you think about it, we're all one anyway. I tell people, like, listen, you're like a drop of water in that glass. That's the ocean of God. That is God, and you are just a drop. So what's the difference? You have the same abilities to connect with all that is. We just don't know that. We
Right.
just don't know. So some people are more advanced in being able to connect with other realms, but we've just forgotten in this lifetime how to do it, and probably for a good reason, for us to experience this life in this three-dimensional world.
We forgot so we can remember.
Yeah, yeah, isn't that fun?
No, it's not fun.
As long as you're not tested for it, because I hate tests.
Okay. Are there any parts of this job that you dread?
That I dread? Oh, really? I don't. I really, when I first started, I did. When I first started, like everybody who starts hypnosis, um, just getting started
It's challenging.
is challenging because I'm really good at talking with people. Like I said, I was coaching for a while and I love that part of the conversation. And when I actually am doing an interview with somebody, I'm doing coaching for like an hour with them anyway, and I'm connecting dots already before they even start, and we're bringing out issues that they didn't even think they had. So that part of it was great, but actually getting to them to lie down and start the hypnosis used to always freak me out. Like, am I going to remember how to do how to put them into trance? Where are they going to go? I was always like, oh my God, where are they going to go? Because I was always like, you know how there are yes people and there are no people? Well, I was always a no person. Like, if you would ask me, do you want to do this? It was always no first. And then I would think about it and then I would change my mind. So in a session, there's no way for you to say, no, no, I don't want to do this now, because your client is already lying down there.
Right.
So I learned to just detach from that, put on my seatbelt. I always imagine myself sitting down and strapping on my seatbelt and say, okay, wherever we're going to go there. So that used to scare me a lot. Like, where is this going to go? And now I don't even think about it. I've done so many of these already, and it's like I always know it's going to be great no matter what. I don't have any expectations whatsoever. I can't have any expectations. And now there's like nothing. It's like, okay, let's see where we're going to go. But yes, at the beginning, as a newbie, that scared me just to start the session. And but now it's like, no, let's come on. When they're talking too much, it's like, come on, we got to go. We got things to do. Let's lie down. Because I know that the good stuff is in the session. So, as a newbie, I know that scares people. Like, what am I going to say? What am I going to ask? You don't know what you're going to ask until it comes up.
Right.
You don't know. So that's what people have to understand. You cannot be afraid or dislike anything because it's all a learning experience. It's all a challenge. Everything I do, even going around the world, I guess the hardest thing for me to do is to lift my suitcase up over the overhead bin because it's so heavy. Maybe that I don't like, but I always find someone, oh, can you help me with this? But that's so minor. I do carry a lot of equipment when I travel now. So the bag issue is a little bit challenging, but I love these challenges. How can you make it easier next time, and how can you improve it next time? And
So, how has your business or hypnosis in general changed now with the quarantine since we're all kind of locked up?
well, for me, I've had to change the way I do business because I always insisted on doing face to face. Ever since I started, even though other people were doing things online, I always wanted to do things face to face. First of all, because the inductions that I use are very physical. I do a lot of physical touching, swaying, moving people around, different inductions that cannot be done online. So I always enjoyed having the person in front of me, and I always enjoyed their energy and being able to be face to face. So during this quarantine, I now have had to take that off and now do it online. So I have been doing my sessions online. In fact, I'm now reaching people that I would never have been able to reach before, places that I would never have gone to before because they're so remote. So I'm actually doing sessions with people online um, in places I would never have been able to see them. So yeah, it hasn't affected me at all. Uh, it's given me the freedom actually because I'm doing sessions at different hours because there's different time zones now.
Mm-hmm.
So before I used to always have a schedule of morning sessions like we're doing right now with morning, but now my sessions are actually in the afternoon and evenings where I can connect with people down under and in different time zones. So yeah, it's working out great.
Wonderful.
Working out great. So you always have to look for the silver lining.
Right. Look for the
If
brighter
if
side.
if something has stopped you, you have to find something. You got to jump that hurdle because there are no coincidences in life ever, ever. If this has been given to you as a gift, use it.
Use it. Good
Use
advice,
it.
Alba.
Always use
Advice.
whatever comes to you. Always think, okay, if I can't do this, then what can I do? And I've been doing a lot of things that I haven't been able to do, in the last few years.
Wonderful. That's
Yeah.
wonderful. Okay, name three words that describe you.
Oh my God, that's hard. See, this is a test. So now you got me. I always say that I'm introverted.
You
Okay.
sure?
Yes. People don't believe it, but I'm very introverted. I like to be alone. I like to be on my own. I don't need people. I like people, but I don't need them. This quarantine to me, excuse me, this quarantine has been heaven for me. Heaven. Absolutely. It was God's gift to me. It's like, oh my God, yeah, can we do this like for the whole year? Because I really, I don't have to see anybody. I am introverted, so I re I relay a lot to those people who are coming to me because I understand introverted people. Okay. But introverted doesn't mean that you have to lock yourself away from people. It just means that you need some time to charge your batteries. Okay. Because usually an introverted person gets picks up a lot of energy around. And whenever you're with people, it's like, it's too much. So you need to recharge your battery and spend time alone, maybe a night's Epsom salt bath or something like that, and discharge. So that would be one way to describe me. Another word I would say is very creative. Um, I'm always finding ways to create something, something new. I love the creativity side of life. Uh, if it's not invented, I want to invent something different. I want to do something different. So I'm always creating uh, different things, different ways of doing things. And that's why I get along so well with my colleague Antonio, because, we're both collaborating, and being creative. What else can we do to make it even better? What can we do to improve things? So creativity is another word I would describe myself. Um, another God, there's so many organized, but organized would be another one. Um, I am an organizer. I do like to have things organized in order. Um, it just it's order is my life. Now I'm not super anal about stuff, but I am pretty pretty much. I like to have things in their order, and that's what that's the way I am. I like to have everything in its place. That's why I work so well doing what I do, because everything is in order, and at the same time I'm creative. So I'm not one of these messy creative people. Like when I'm cooking, I'm actually washing everything as I'm doing it and making sure that by the time I finish cooking, there's nothing to clean. It's
very organized.
Very. To the point where I irritate myself, like, why do you have to put it away now? Just finish stirring the pot. You don't have to put it away now. So I am very organized that way. So
that's really funny, Alba.
It works. And for me to be a one-woman business, it has to be that way. Yeah. I work with many different software programs in order to make this work. I have programs on my scheduling programs. I have my mailing list program. I have my website. I have my editing program, and I have to be organized with my time because otherwise I'd go crazy. But I'm basically, swapping hats constantly and doing things, and at the same time doing sessions. So I have to be organized. So I am.
It makes total sense.
Yeah.
Okay, do you have any hidden talents?
Well, if you look behind me, I have a pillow. During this quarantine time, I took out my sewing machine and I started sewing again. My mom was a seamstress. So ever since I was born, I saw her sewing. And I learned how to sew when I was little, just because mom did it, just the way you would learn to cook if your mom's a cook. And I always saw her sewing. She sewed until she was 92, and she actually died at 93 because she couldn't see anymore. So a few months before she died, I said, Mom, you need to catch me up on some of your skills, because, when you're gone, somebody needs to do the sewing here. And she didn't quite remember everything by that time, because she was so old by that time, and her eyes were cataracts and stuff. So when she passed away, I got my aunt actually gave me a sewing machine. I had her sewing machine, but my aunt's was so much nicer. And I pulled out my YouTube videos on how to sew again, and I started sewing. I like to sew little like knick-knack stuff. So yes, I love to sew. It's like my meditation.
Nice.
So that I don't sew clothing. I'm not into clothing, but I like to make organizers.
Of course you do, Alba.
So whatever I can sew that organizes things, like trash bins for your car. I have a whole wall of an organizer for my makeup stuff. That's what I do. Creative and organized.
Very.
So that would be a skill that I do. My hidden talent. You're making me cry now. It's so funny.
That was good. That was so good. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Oh, I hope I'm not dead. I don't know. I don't
No,
know.
you're not dead either.
You know, I don't. That's something I've never done. Here I am crying from all the funny stuff. I don't I don't plan out that far ahead. I really don't. I spend the moment in now, and uh, I'd love to be able to continue traveling, doing this. I'd love to be able to do more gatherings. That's really where I want to focus a lot of my attention on as soon as all of this border stuff uh, gets taken down. But to me, the most important thing right now is using the hypnosis to continue to bring people together because it's a common theme. You know, we're all remembering who we are, and to be able to bring these people together. That's my thing. For an introvert like myself, to bring all those introverts together, that really is very important. I don't really care about the extroverts so much because they got it together. They know how to talk to each other. But it's the introverts that never leave their house
Mm,
because um, they don't know that other people are like them.
right.
Okay, so bring these people because these people who are introverted are very powerful people. I mean, usually they're super powerful, and therefore that's why they don't like to go out in public because their energy is so strong and they pick up so much stuff. They're very empathic. So my idea is to bring those people together because when you unite people that are so powerful like that, oh my God, the room lights up and we can make a difference. So either by meditation or by just setting a united intention
Mm-hmm.
really can change this world. And you see, all of these people that I'm trying to um, focus on are the ones that are they're like seeds that are just sprouting up right now. They've been in the dark for a while. They felt alone for so long, and I want them all to know you're not alone, and you're very powerful. Because I know, because I see your souls when I do the sessions. I know how powerful you truly are. So I'd love to be able to get them together more and more, bigger and bigger, so we can have discussions. We could bring people together to answer their questions. Um, we could bring people who are good at whatever it is that they're good at, and address this with these people. A place where they can meet together and meet each other
Yeah.
so that they don't know they're by yourself. Now, I don't know if that's a 5-year plan or a 1-year plan,
Right.
but that's my intention to bring it's almost like we are all here right now for this event that's going on, this event of ascension, and there's going to be a lot of crazy stuff going on, very very crazy stuff. So these people have to understand that they came here with wanting front row seats for this. They came here for this time, and at this time they have to really ground themselves, be at peace, and know that they're not alone in this mission. Most of them don't even know they're on a mission, but they are.
Right.
And their mission is to shine their light. They're light workers. And the only purpose of a light is to shine their light, like the light that I have behind me. Why do we put it in a dark place? Because it needs to shine its light. And so all of us right now are here to shine our light. So I like to remind people of that and to bring them together and do in a group and see that light shining. Oh my God, it's so beautiful.
Beautiful.
It's so beautiful to have these people just say, oh my God, there's other people just like me. And I feel at home. I could say anything and nobody thinks I'm weird. That's what I want to see moving forward all around the world,
And you
all around the
exhume
world.
that. You exhume that. And I'm so happy and grateful that you're in my life. You are such a blessing to me.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
I think there's one more or two more questions. Okay,
Okay.
what advice would you give to myself and other introspective hypnosis practitioners?
Practice. That's really the only.
Practice, yeah. Continue to practice, yeah.
You cannot get good at any skill unless you do it.
Yeah.
And there's many people who take classes, and I don't care what class it is that you take. They take a class and they think that they're going to leave the class and they're going to be able to do the work the same as somebody who's been doing it for years. And it's not like that. You've been given all of the information. We do exercises in our class to prove to you that it works, but you have to do it. You got to take those training wheels off, and now you got to do it on your own, and you have to practice. I don't care who you practice on, as long as you don't give up. Because there are going to be people out there who will rattle your chains, okay? They're gonna make you wonder, should I even do this? Because they misbehave during a session. And misbehave, I mean by these people who just sit there and saying, it's not working, and you're not hypnotizing me. And they insist on just testing you, and it has nothing to do with the hypnotist. It all has to do with the client.
Right.
So every challenge, I suggest that you just take that challenge up to be another learning experience. Okay, this didn't work. So how can I do it next time? What alternative ways can I do it next time that makes it happen? And many times it's the way you react that works. When I have someone who is misbehaving, I just ignore them as if they were a child throwing a temper tantrum. Okay? When you have a little toddler and they're stomping their feet and they want attention, the worst thing you could do is give them more energy. So you ignore it and you just pretend that it's not even happening. You're in control, and you know that eventually they'll stop crying about it and it's going to work. So that takes a lot of skill to just ignore that and continue to be with that set intention of this is going to work. They'll eventually stop and start enjoying the session. So practice is the only way you're going to do that, because until you get into those situations, you don't know how to handle them. You just don't. It's like anything in life. You don't know, it's like learning how to drive. If let's say you take an online driving class.
Which sounds so crazy, but not ridiculous in this time.
No. Let's say you take a driving class on how to drive your car online. All right? But you cannot drive unless you actually get in the car and you start practicing.
Yeah.
Because there's going to be a lot of crazy stuff that happens on the road that was not taught to you in class. Like what happens when someone blasts the horn on you when you don't expect it and you get scared? What do? That wasn't in the class. Right? So you have to learn how to react and look around and say, oh, I was blocking him. That's why he's beeping the horn at me. And then you have to learn to just, be at ease with this and say, okay, well, that didn't work. Let's go in this direction. But unless you go into those situations where you have challenges, you're not going to learn. And so you have to practice. And that's what we do in the introspective hypnosis classes, that Antonio and I will get up there in class. This is the live classes, not the online classes. The live classes, I will get in there and I will tell you some of my experiences as to what not to do, because I've been through it. So it doesn't mean it's not going to happen to you, but if it does happen, then you say, okay, now I understand.
Yeah.
You see? But you have to practice. That's the only thing I could say. Practice and keep learning new skills. You keep going on YouTube, buy books, read books. every client, you should be taking that opportunity to try something different.
Mm-hmm.
If it flops, who cares? They don't know the difference.
Yeah. I recently did like a chakra balancing that I saw Antonio doing. I'm like, it works.
Yeah, of course it does. Of course
Yeah,
it does.
it works.
Every little thing works. And remember that your client will be very happy that you're taking the extra time
Mm-hmm.
to do
The effort.
things,
Yeah.
the effort. Because one thing, Tanya, that people are missing in this life is one-on-one attention.
Mm.
Okay? People want to be loved. People want to know that they're important and they are worthy, of other people's attention. And when this is what I love about doing this work is that I get to be intimate with someone's soul for 4 hours, because I spend 4 hours with my clients. I get to have a one-on-one with them, like we're doing right now, face to face, eye to eye, talking about stuff that perhaps they can't talk to anybody else. Okay? And then during hypnosis, I get to dive into their soul's adventures and whatever I can do, different therapies or whatever to assist them with stuff that they're going through, or even teach them different methods of self-empowerment. I do that during my session. I cut those things out of my YouTube videos. I don't show those because that's personal to them. But that's the greatest gift you can give someone, is that one-on-one attention. And that's what I love about this so much, is I get to turn off my phone, they turn off their phone, and it's just you and me.
Yeah.
That's love. That's love to me.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. So that's what we all crave, is one-on-one attention. Like nobody gives you any time. You go to the doctor, you're a nurse. How much time does a doctor give you when you go to the office?
I know, less than 15 minutes, tops.
Mm-hmm. Right. Right. And there's so much that the person is dealing with. In 15 minutes, you can't find out everything that's going on with somebody. So in our sessions, I like to take the time and really get to know the person, to find out, connect some of the dots, because they may be having a pain, for example, that they don't even think about because they've been dealing with this pain, and this is a pain I just deal with. But if you find that out during your interview, you can zoom in on that and find the origin of that pain. You may find out that that person has always had pain on the left side of their body. So maybe in a past life, something happened to them that disempowered them. Maybe they were attacked by a panther, and that's where they were attacked. And that person now carries that memory of, all of a sudden they were devoured by this panther when they were having the best time of their life. Maybe, I had this in a session the other day. There was a child playing, and just when the child was having the fun, just playing in the woods, a panther came and took his life. So you would think that anytime that person now is having a good time, it's like, okay, I can't have too much fun because something bad could happen. So just spending time with someone and realizing what happened to the left side of your body. Well, now every time the left side of the body is hurting you is because it's telling you, hey, remember? So we have to go in there and we have to change that trigger by replacing it with something else. So yeah, I don't know what the question was, but I rant.
Okay, my last question. Do you have any message? Do you have any message for the collective?
Oh, it's about the practitioners. That's right. Getting senile here. To the collective?
Yes.
It's the same thing as everybody else. Right now is a major event. Okay? When we're speaking right now. Right now, you have been given a gift of being still. Everything has stopped. And this is a time to really sit still, meditate. If you can't meditate, find something that you like to do to keep your mind off of things. Even petting your pet, like if you have a pet with long hair, just brush the hair. That's a meditation, all right? In the past, that's what the rosary was. It was a meditation. I sew, when I'm sewing by hand, like I did, I had to finish off that one. When you sew by hand, that's a meditation because you're focusing on the stitching. Sit still and really go within and find that peace within yourself. Understand that when you're in the now, when you're living in the now, there's nothing happening except what's happening right now. So whatever you're hearing about that's over there, that's in the news, it's not happening to you. Your universe is at peace. And whatever is happening to somebody else is happening to them. It's not happening to you. So if we can all sit in that stillness and understand that this soul is here right now to shine their light, to shine the best part of themselves, what a gift this is. Do something productive. Pick up a new hobby that you've never tried before. I started cooking, which I don't like to cook. I've never liked to cook. And here I am, I'm watching recipes from different countries and I'm going, hi, I could try that. And I'm making delicious food that I'm actually making home food now, which I used to always run across the restaurant and grab some stuff really fast. But I'm actually cooking my own meals, which is making my body very happy. I'm making stuff. I'm being creative. So take this opportunity now. If you have children, teach your children how to play, not on the phone, not on the computer. Do hopscotch, play with marbles, pick up sticks, go into the old time games that play hide and seek, do things that kids need to do where they could look back at this time and say, wow, I spent a whole month or 2 months with my parents and look at all the stuff that I learned. You could be teaching kids geography. You could be teaching kids biology. You could go out there and if you have a garden or you could start teaching them about plants. This is like the best opportunity ever to totally change the way you have done your work in the past, how you've thought. Don't look at it as a time to just sit and do nothing or watch Netflix all day long. That's just going to make your mind into mush. Actually do something. Organize your closet, for God's sake.
Organization.
Go into your kitchen and dump out that junk drawer and see what's in it and get rid of some of that stuff, and see what's broken. Do something every day that's meaningful. And it's just, I don't have enough hours in the day ever because there's so much I want to do. So for the total consciousness, be still, go within, connect with God. I don't care what you call it. I call it God, and I'm not a religious person. Connect with God, connect with your angels, connect with your guides, ask them for guidance, and start setting your intention on what you want to do. It's that easy. But you have to shine your light, and that is not a doomsday light. You want to shine a bright light. Be happy. Find things to be happy about. Shut off your TV. Shut off those violent movies.
Mm-hmm.
Don't watch those violent movies. And I would say even Disney movies are violent. Shut off the violence and start connecting with nature. I don't know if it's getting warm by you yet, Tanya, but
yeah, it's still chilly.
Okay, well, find a place where you can just enjoy nature. Enjoy the trees. Talk to the trees. Talk to the birds. take a moment if you can, if you're allowed to sit at a park or something. I don't know what you can do, but just watch the butterflies go flying by, and
Even listening to nature sounds sometimes, running
yeah,
water, birds chirping, that can help raise your vibration.
exactly.
Prayer.
So yeah, do things to really calm down. I've been listening lately to the 11:11 chants. I don't know if you've seen that
I
video
haven't.
on. It's the monks that chant, and I put that in the background. And sometimes I try to follow along with the chanting. It's really hard, but it's helping me exercise my lungs. That's for sure. You have to hold your breath for a while. Uh, I'm just doing different things that I've never done before. So I think that's what everybody should be doing. Get off the TV, get off the news, get off the violent movies, and just be with nature. This is such a fabulous time to just be.
It's a beautiful message. Thank you so much,
You're
Alba.
welcome.
I'm
You're
so
welcome.
grateful. Every morning I wake up with a grateful heart, but I'm more grateful today because you had this wonderful chat with me. And I'm so happy. I'm so grateful that I have you in my life. And I love you so much.
I love you too. I
And
love you
God
too.
bless you.
Yes, and whoever is looking to do something like this, connect with people. Connect with people. That's so important because everybody has different experiences, and as you know, you're interviewing different people now. Everybody has a story, and that's the beauty of doing work one-on-one with people. Everybody has a story, and everybody's an important ingredient and puzzle piece to life. So get out there and talk to people.
Thank you, Alba.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Stay tuned for my next episode. I'm going to be interviewing Antonio Sangio.